Greetings, Cadet. I'm Captain Copernicus Quark, Galactic Ranger Extraordinaire, not to mention Solana Magazine's most handsome man alive. And that puny little furball is Ratchet, who's a lot more trouble than he looks. Trust me on this. It all started on planet Veldon at Galactic Ranger tryouts. Ratchet showed promise. I thought he had a bright future. Memory. Anyway, I decided to teach him the ways of a true champion. Along with his robot pal Clank, we were the perfect team. Till he had to go and save Metropolis and get all famous. It was time for that pesky Lombex to learn a lesson. There's only room for one hero in this galaxy. If only he wasn't so heroic. Now he's just showing off.
Ratchet and Clank in stores April 12th. Play the game. See the movie. Rated PG.
PlayStation.
Hey, what's up guys? Sirog77 here, and what you just saw was the most recent Ratchet and Clank trailer that is released. And I thought since I went over the last, I don't know, 5? Well, not the last 5, but 5 of the ones that came out last week, or 2 weeks ago, I thought I'd go over this one. And at first I didn't think that there was gonna, be very much to discuss. But on further inspection of the trailer, I realized that there was a little bit I could talk about. So, I'll just be going through this one pretty quick. If we've already seen it, I'm just gonna be like, we've seen this, doesn't matter, we're just gonna breeze past it. But there's some things we haven't seen before, there's some things we haven't noticed before. So, we start the trailer up, we got the Sony computer and whatever, and we've got Captain Quark is narrating this trailer. And I think that that's awesome, that he's narrating this trailer. And he is reassured. This trailer is like the trailer that I wish I had seen when the game got its first trailer. All the way back, E3 2014. I say all the way back like it was like forever ago. But it was only like 2 years ago. Now it does sound like forever when I say it like that. But anyway, he's narrating, and we start off, he's in a boardroom, I guess. And then he jumps out of that thing that we've already seen a little bit of, this weird thing because he's a celebrity superhero or whatever, and he's talking about the Galactic Rangers and how he's their leader or whatever. And then we see the scene where he's getting cucumbers removed from his eyes, which is if you remember my first, or I might have talked about it in both, but in the other trailer analysis videos I talked about a trailer that was removed that was the opening of the game. That is from the opening because I saw that before it was taken down, so I can assure you that's from the opening of the game. And we see Ratchet getting ready for his tryouts as a Galactic Ranger. And we see this animation, I'm going to put this animation in a loop for a sec, where he kind of looks like he's scraping something off his shoe. I think that's an idle animation. I think that's going to be one of his idols, when you're just standing around doing nothing. That doesn't look like a cutscene or anything. And then we see the Insomniac Games logo, and Quark's talking about Veldon. And the scene we see here is very reminiscent of the scene of Veldon in the original game. I'll just throw it up. I'll throw a scene of the original Veldon up where it looks just like this. With the bridge and the way just the land is shaped. So I'm guessing we're going to go through a very similar thing. But what's not similar is that Quark talks about Ratchet's Galactic Ranger tryouts, and it shows him, and he's in a sort of arena, which we already saw a little bit of in the other few trailers that we saw, but he pulls out the buzz blades, which is interesting. I don't know if he'll actually have the buzz blades that early. I doubt it. I doubt that you'll start with the buzz blades. He probably starts with the combustor. And he fires at some of these robots. We see some Fongoids and Tharpod. I don't remember what the fuck the All-for-One things are called. And then we see the scene where, of course, this is a story trailer with little bits of gameplay in it, but Ratchet is just getting destroyed by flamethrowers here and not taking any damage. And it's not really necessary to point out, but I'm pointing it out anyway. And then we see the explosion scene that we've already seen, the Quark pushing Ratchet out scene. He talks about the Blargy. He doesn't talk about it, but we see the Blargy and Snagglebeast briefly. And then the negotiator shows up again. Negotiator spotted. Another trailer with the negotiator in it. I want the negotiator. Give me the adjudicator. The negotiator. Give it to me. I want it. I want it. I don't care how. I need it. I need it in my life. DLC it. I don't give a shit. I want that. I want it real bad. And we see the laser thing again. And then we see this scene where, like, Quark and Ratchet and Clank are on something that's going fast. And then we see a scene of the ship, which is neato. And then we see a new Kerwan scene, which is interesting. And I kind of want to talk about it because we've seen, like, 3 separate trailers showing new things on Kerwan. And we get another new scene that we didn't see, which is Ratchet's ship. It appears to be on fire. And he's being chased by what looks like a bunch of missiles. Or a bunch of little ships. It's probably missiles. And then we see the same shocked Quark scene when he sees Ratchet in the ship. And then the music kicks up a notch and we see some grinding on what appears to be, for I'm sure some people, Hoven, but no, this is still Battaglia. This is the grinding section on Battaglia, as we can see here. And then once we get past that, we see a scene where it's a scene of Gaspar and Ratchet's attacking one of the telepathopods. I don't fucking know what those are called. Whatever, they'll tell us. That Blarg scientist from the Gaspar trailer way back when, if you remember, that was also like E3 2014. Ratchet's using a weapon here that I can't see, and somebody thought it was some people think it's the Predator launcher, but I know it's not the Predator launcher because the way the Predator launcher works is that it targets enemies, and then a bunch of little missiles orbit around Ratchet until you let go of the circle button, and then they fire, or probably in this game's case, the R1. Am I saying that right? Yeah, R1 button. But that's clearly not what's going on in this scene. I'm going to slow it down. It looks like little bits of rockets are flying out, and there's even a sound effect that kind of reminds me of the, a rhino. It might be the rhino. That's kind of lame. But then he flies up into the air, and he shoots it again. It looks like, because that's what it looks like. It doesn't look like the Predator launcher. I'm going to say that's definitely not the Predator launcher. But speaking of the Predator launcher, after another scene with Ratchet upstaging Quark and him getting real pissy about it, we do see the Predator launcher, and you can see the clear difference here. If I slow it down for you, you can see that there were, he'd already homed in on a bunch of enemies, and the rockets were, like, following him, and then he lets go, and they all fly into the spot. And then we see the release date, April 12th, less than a month away. And then we see another part of the scene that is the nefarious boss fight, and I feel kind of dumb because way back when this when the what was it, Paris Games trailer released, we saw a different version of the scene, or maybe a later version, and I totally disregarded the idea of this being a location in the game. I don't know why. I guess I forgot it's not the movie. Sometimes it's hard to tell what's movie and what's not movie, but I think this is the Gimlick base, and I can't believe I didn't think about it earlier, but that's what this totally could be, is Ratchet in space, and the nefarious fight is replacing the Quark fight at the Gimlick base, which would be interesting. And then, right after this, finally I get my reassurance that I've been needing since 2014, is we see Clank get startled by what's obviously Quark popping out of nowhere, and Ratchet is then also shocked, like, holy shit. And then it says, heroes will rise. And then we see this whole section, which I'll just put on a super long loop until I feel need to not. But it is a Quark fight, which is what I really wish we had seen forever. I mean, I know that's shitty for them to show us that in the 2014 trailer, but now we know Quark's an antagonist. If some of the trailers haven't gone over yet, didn't like make you believe yet, if what he was saying in this trailer didn't make you believe, if the very first Blargy and Snagglebee's trailer came out, didn't make you believe, which is what made me believe that, but I was still scared a little bit that he might not be a villain. But yeah, he's clearly a boss this time again, and that's good. One interesting thing that I can point out about this boss fight, because we only see it for like a split second, for like a second, we only see him actually fighting, and it's actually pretty interesting what we can spot here, because if you pause it during the gameplay, you can see evil Gadgetobots, which I'll throw up a scene right now, bada bing bada boom, that I already pulled out, because I prepared this a little bit, just a little bit. Everything else is pretty much on the fly as I'm watching it. But they're like evil Gadgetobots targeting Ratchet, which is very similar to an attack directed. Again, throwing it up. Boom. It's up. It should have been up, actually, already. So... It's weird that he's using one of Drek's attacks. Now, of course, it was one of Drek's lesser attacks, so maybe there's another way to subtly show that Quark's a coward. You know, he has his Gadgetbots do his work for him, which is sort of what the not Gadgetbots, Glove of Doom. I mean, they're both they're like the same thing. They're like the exact same thing. And it looks like he's using a combustor in the fight, and then it also looks like he targets a bunch of missiles on the ground. So this is a bit of a stretch, but he might be the final boss. That's a little extreme. It's a little extreme. But then we see a bunch of shots of Quark, and then Nefarious, Squishy, and Drek, and Clank, and Ratchet. And then we see the title, yay, and then you think it's over, and then we get to see a brief ship flying sequence on, what's it called? Hokutoru. And then we see in theaters, in stores, on shelves, greatness awaits, and that's the trailer. That's pretty much the whole dealio. But when it comes to some of the things Quark is saying, I'd like to kind of talk about those briefly. He's a total asshole, and I guess he prides himself on being a total jerk. Couple questions I have about the story is that Quark is evil, okay? And I'm surprised, again, there's another stupid thing I didn't think of forever ago, but now that we've got way more information, it's very clear to me that I should mention this, is that Quark and Nefarious in the original trilogy knew each other from high school, and Quark was a big jerk. He was the biggest asshole ever to Nefarious, and he actually ended up being the one who turned Nefarious into a robot. Now we see here that isn't the case, that Nefarious isn't a robot yet. I have a couple theories on what the deal with that is. I'm actually going to share those in a second. But if they still do remember each other from high school or college or whatever, why are they on the same side? That's why I'm starting to think that maybe... See, I had a theory a while back that in this game at some point Ratchet is going to turn Dr. Nefarious into a robot. He's going to do the thing that Quark did in VidComic 3, Ratchet and Clank 3, Up Your Arsenal. He's going to do that to him, and that's going to make way for a Dr. Nefarious-centered sequel in the future, since this is all about Drek and Quark as the antagonists. I sort of feel like Nefarious is going to be a what is the third antagonist? Whatever not the secondary antagonist, he's even less antagonistic than that. But I feel like this will set up an Up Your Arsenal PS4 game and movie if they don't do a Going Commando one, or if they do a Going Commando and then they want to call back to this game. I mean, I feel like that'd be pretty long to like wait to finally make part on that, but I mean, it'd be cool. And one line, what else? There's something else I wanted to talk about with that, with Quark and him. Oh, my other theory that I'm just coming up with now on the fly that could be totally flawed, but I'm gonna say it anyway, is that maybe Quark does something to turn. He, you know, maybe to keep his disguise up as the leader of the Galactic Rangers and not one of Drek's, you know, lackeys, or not one of his spokespeople on his new planet. Maybe he does something terrible to Dr. Nefarious. He betrays him, since they're supposed to be technically on the same side, since they're both on Drek's side. We now know, pretty much. He does something to keep his cover from being blown and ends up turning Dr. Nefarious into a robot. So, that'd be pretty neat as a thing. There's one line in the trailer when Ratchet and Quark are like flying up and he's monologuing still. And Quark says, "There's only room in this galaxy." Well, hold on, let me just play it. Let me find it. Hold on. He says something like, "There's only room in this galaxy for one." It should be like right here. I don't know. But you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. He says there's only room in this galaxy for one of us, or one hero. And I'm thinking that might be like going to Bogon next. You know, Quark goes there to be a hero in the second game. I mean, that's just a plot point that I feel like is important to share. There's only room for one hero in this galaxy is what he says, by the way. I finally found that part in the trailer while I was trying to make conversation. But, you know, only room in this galaxy. So, if a Going Commando game and movie were to be in production, that'd be a nice little nod to it, like, oh yeah, well, you can be the hero of Solana. I'm going to Bogon to start the Protopet crisis just like in the original. He wanted to become a hero of a new galaxy with a new fan base and, you know, all that. But this has been a very interesting trailer. I don't think there's anything else I want to talk about with this. I'm happy to see that Quark is obviously a villain. It also looks like you might be... I don't know where you're fighting him either, but I don't know. This is probably the last trailer we're going to get for the rest of the... before the game comes out, so... I'm excited. Less than a month. Not long now. But, anywho, I'm glad y'all stuck through it to the end, and I'll see you guys next time on one of my Let's Plays, or on something else. I still haven't decided if I'm going to Let's Play this game. I probably should have stopped by now, because I said I was going to stop, but I don't know if I'm going to Let's Play this game or not when it comes out blind. That'd be interesting to do it blind, but then I kind of want to just play it, like, in one sitting. And maybe I'll do a long play of it, where I just don't even talk the whole time, and just talk whenever I feel like it. That'd be cool. Maybe I'll do that. We'll see what happens. I'll see you guys on the next thing I do, which will probably have been recorded before I recorded this. Peace out.